All right, we can start meeting people. All right, welcome everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Princess Cavicoli. While we're waiting for everyone to kind of trickle in, if you can, please type your name, your state, your organization, in the chat. And also, just for fun, what is the temperature where you are, and what is the temperature where you would rather be?
Wow, Peter, I thought it was cold here in Philadelphia, but as a fellow Michigander, no surprise.
Yeah. It's I actually don't mind it as long as it doesn't happen too often.
hmm It was only 11 degrees here in Philadelphia this morning, which is
Oh wow.
not very common for us, but it's a balmy 19 now, so
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, a lot of these are making me feel much better about my day.
Give people a few more minutes to check in. All right, just another minute. We'll give people another minute to trickle in, and then we'll get going. Right, it's 1:05. I think we can get going now. Um, So my name is Princess Cabicoli. I am project associate here at QIP. QIP has been the company supporting the K12 community of practice. And before I go any farther, I'd just like to give the rest of our team who's here today an opportunity to introduce themselves. So I'll hand it over to Angela.
Hi everyone, good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. And thanks so much for being here. My name is Angela. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the project director for this body of work here at QIP, which we'll talk more about today. And I'll hand it over to my colleague Denise to introduce herself.
Hi, my name's Denise Lawson, and I'm going to be talking with you today about some of the exciting aspects of the community of practice, and I'm also with QIP.
And that leaves me. Hi, I'm Bridget Thomas from QIP. I'm the senior education researcher here, and I have been working with the dual enrollment discussion paper and what will become the dual enrollment recommendation paper.
So now I'm going to hand it over to Angela to give us a little bit of background about how we got to this point.
Great, thanks. Yeah. Hi again, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for being here. So, I'm not sure if any of y'all have worked with us on this body of work in the past, but if not, I'll give just a quick overview and update. So back in 2023, QIP secured funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to start this work, which was to talk with states about how they use post-secondary outcomes data, and more importantly, how they get those data back into the hands of districts and schools, with the vision being maybe one day a school counselor could have this data and be sitting in front of a student or their parents and help them decide what's the best pathway for me after high school, what should I do after I graduate. So in order to figure that out, we conducted focus groups and interviews with 16 states. And from those focus groups and interviews, we produced a best practice guide around using post-secondary outcomes data, and 3 case studies, one from Michigan, one from North Carolina, and one from Minnesota. And you can find those case studies and those interviews at our website. I'll pop that link in the chat in a moment. And now we're up to present. We have more grant funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to continue this work. From the interviews with states, it was clear that developing some sort of community of practice so that states could talk with one another about how they're using this data would be useful. And that's where we are today. And that's why we're here today. So I'll hand it back over to Princess to talk more about that.
So as Angela was saying, we started this community of practice because we wanted to create a space where state level K12 post-secondary data users can come and basically collaborate and share resources with one another with the intention of improving pathways for students. The goal that we have here moving forward is that right now we're presenting this project to you and inviting members to come and join. But the goal is that as we go on, those of you who are signing up and participating in the community of practice will begin to kind of lead this space and kind of create the culture for which you wish to see so we can move forward in this work as we improve students in their transition from high school to higher education or the workforce. How it functions, we created a space where when we created the space, we had it in mind that we wanted a place where you can do all things. We wanted a space where you can collaborate, communicate with one another, and share resources. So I'm going to share what we have come up with so far with you guys, and hopefully get you involved in an activity where you will also be interacting with the site today. So if you give me 1 second, I need to switch my screen. Okay, here we have the K12 COP used for using post-secondary data. This is our homepage. Here you can come and find very quick information about the community of practice, what the expectations are, who we are expecting to join. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll find some very useful information, such as the dates to remember, where we will be using the space to give you information on any up and coming events with using post-secondary data, such as the event you're at right now, and also the NCAN convening happening in February. There's also a quick link to the Action Fund, which we'll describe in depth later. But to sum it up, it's a space here where you can submit a project proposal to hopefully acquire funding to execute that. And then we have our resources section where we typically will upload any new resources that have been submitted to the library, which we're also about to see next. When you come to the page, which I'll share the URL with you in a few minutes, you can come here and start at the resource space that I told you about, the resource page. Here we have a library, and we already front loaded it with information that to kind of give you an impression of what type of resources are useful in this space. So if you have something that you would like to share with the community, you can always come up here to upload. When you click upload, you'll see this Google form. And when you fill it out, upload your resource, you can upload it as a PDF, a Word document. It could be a link, a video. Once you upload that, you will scroll down and submit it. It shows you all the other formats that are accepted there as well. You can submit it. Once you submit this form, it won't automatically upload to the resource library. We will approve it, and then we'll send you an email letting you know if there's something you may need to fix or if it's already been uploaded, and then you can go ahead and view it and share it as you wish. So that is the resource section. And again, as I said before, Denise will give us more information later on about the Action Fund. But again, here is where you can go on the site to submit your project proposal and get training and guidance on how to move forward with the Action Fund. Here we have the K12 COP forum. This is kind of like the hub for this page, for this community, where everyone will be expected to participate and communicate if you can. This page is the only page on the site that is password protected. So I will be walking you through in a couple of minutes how to sign up for this. We understand that people will probably be having some very in-depth conversations. They might want their privacy. So we decided to make this password protected. So what I am going to do is we're going to basically set up our logins right now. I will drop a link I'll drop the URL inside of the chat. And once you have the URL, please click register, and I'll give you more information in a second regarding that once we go from there. Once you get to the register page, if you can just give me a thumbs up in the chat so I know that we all have it, that would be great. Awesome. And I'll put the link back there again. Hmm.
I
Brittany?
think it's a problem on my end, so I could go ahead and follow along, see how we register, and then I'll have to probably go back to my entity and see if we could unblock it.
Okay, okay. If not, I'll talk with you after the meeting just to see and then maybe offer you some assistance, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Hmm. Okay. So those of you that are there, if you can go ahead and type in a username and also an email. A few people are saying they're blocked from it. You're only seeking information to registration support.
Yeah, thanks for letting us know you're blocked. That's really good information. So we've been building this site in-house, and I'll definitely take this back to our website building team and let them know, and we'll see what sort of solutions we can come up with. And I also see there's a question, if you're only here to seek information today, what does registration support? Like, obviously, you don't have to register for this, but Princess is just offering an opportunity that if you wanted to get started in the discussion boards today, we're just giving you a tutorial on how to do that. I don't know if you want to say anything else about that, Princess, or if you have
No.
a further question, Josie, about that.
One, okay. Once you filled in your username and email, you click agree and register. A link should come to your email to generate a password. If you receive that link, can you put a heart in the chat? That way I know it's something different. Okay. And also, if you could check your so you're into if you could check your spam folder, sometimes things could probably go there. Okay, I see Isabel got the link. Okay, that it went to Susan said it went to her junk folder, so someone else possibly check your junk folder in case it went there. This email already registered. Hmm. Peter, that's interesting. I'm gonna take that back. If you could stay just for a couple minutes afterwards, just so I can see some of you who are having trouble. It says you're already registered. If you were able to register, if you could go ahead and log in. Once you're logged in, if you could go ahead and type in the chat the word in. Awesome. I forget, someone just said that their email is already registered. There might be a link you can go to regenerate your password. If not, I'm sure we could send you a new link at another time. Okay, great. All of you are in. All right. So once you're in here, right here where it says collaborate to improve pathways for students. Okay, I'll give it another minute, Natasha. Did the email link come to you?
Yeah, it came to me, but yeah, I saved my password, but then it didn't work. It didn't actually save it. So I'm just requesting it again. So user
Okay.
error. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll give the instructions and then we'll move forward. So collaborate to improve pathways for students. Once you come in here, you'll see we have a few threads going already. K12 COP announcements. Here is where us at QIP who are kind of facilitating the site, we will be able to give you announcements from us, but we're also open to you guys using this, not open, but this is what you're supposed to do. But please, if you have announcements or if you have any type of information about any type of post-secondary data events or anything happening, please, we welcome you to post them in this thread. There are also this thread right here where it says introductory meeting questions. That is for later on in the meeting, and it will probably not be there after today. But these last three, post-secondary outcomes reports, the NSC data and tools, and using post-secondary data to improve pathways. These are just some topics that we kind of like front-loaded and, to open up the floor for discussion so that way you can see what type of things you can expect to talk about here. Once you go in these threads, feel free to start a new topic. Go right ahead, go in. You can go in like this. You can leave a reply to something that's already there. Or if you have something else that falls into this category, go ahead and publish a new topic. You can subscribe to other people's threads within this topic. You can respond, you can start new conversations. It's genuinely just a place that we want you guys to interact. You can also upload resources within the forum. You can upload links, pictures. I do believe it supports documents up to a certain size, but it's highly encouraged for you to do those things so that way you can foster great collaboration in this space. Right now, don't want to take up all of Bridget's time. I'm going to go back here. Bridget, would you like to share or would you like me to?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share just for a couple minutes here.
Okay, I'm going to pass this over to Bridget so she can talk about using dual enrollment data to improve student pathways. All right.
Okay. Mhm. All right. This should look very familiar. Um, so I wanted to take a few moments just to go specifically into the forum that relates to the dual enrollment data work that we've been doing. So I will start by clicking in here and then as I noted in my introduction, we worked on a dual enrollment data discussion paper. When we did the initial focus groups and interviews within the first year of this project, we found that dual enrollment data was something that came up frequently as something that folks really would like to either have better information or have better means of connecting different types of information. And so we decided to focus on this first in terms of making recommendations and as we work with this one and get lots of hopefully input from you all, and can develop a more solid recommendation about how this could be better handled. We're hoping to then move on to other different types of data and ways to make recommendations about those as well. But as I say, we started with this one because it was a very common challenge that folks brought up. So this first link here, and you can see it stays here with the little pin there. This is the draft discussion paper, and as I say, you will notice it does say draft. That's because we wanted to bring it to this community and get your feedback, talk through some questions that we incorporated into the paper. There are two versions there. We have a PDF version so that you can read it and it's clean and there aren't other notes or comments throughout it. The Word doc version of it, or I guess it's a Google Doc. It's there so that you can, once you have been able to read the clean version of the paper, you can go there and add your thoughts, add suggestions for other things that could be included if you know about, other research or data sources or things like that we should be looking into. You can add those types of things into that version of it. And then once you've been able to do that, we invite you to go to these different question forums. At the end of the discussion paper, we have a list of questions for the group that fall into these 4 categories here. And so what we decided to do, and I'll start with data availability. What we decided to do so is to not bombard everyone with the whole question list right away, is within each of these topics, we have already put in the first question. And to keep things clear for you, I'm noting when the question was uploaded. I will be going in approximately weekly to add a new question each time for each of the categories in the group. So meaning there would be 4 new questions coming out each week. And what I will do to keep it clear is put the new one at the top and have that in bold. This one isn't bolded since it is the first question we're sharing. But these are here in the hopes of kind of beginning the conversations for this group. We know there's a lot of topics that hopefully across time you'll be able to get into, but we wanted to provide a means to kind of get the conversation going, and allow people to kind of have a sense of who else is here and what kind of areas of this work different members are involved in and things like that. So as I say, this one is the data availability topic. But then there are also the groupings for effective data collection and use, handling data challenges, and improving dual enrollment data. So as I said, we're hoping that this provides a good way to start and to kick off some good conversations. And as we move forward and continue to add questions, we are definitely open to your thoughts on ways that we could either improve the experience for you and make things clearer, or expand on what we're doing here and things like that, because we really want this to be a space that is for you and for the things that are most important in terms of the discussions that you feel like you need to be having. So that is the dual enrollment section. And I will now relinquish my sharing and hand things back to Princess.
And I just want to interject real quick too, one of our roles here at QIP in sort of managing and facilitating the community of practice is to see what kinds of discussions you're having in the forums and what kinds of resources you're uploading. And on our end, create additional resources for the community that can be published far and wide. So we create infographics, we create tip sheets, information sheets, we create the best practice guides and things like that. So to see what's happening from sort of a overview and create a resource that would be useful to the community that you could maybe share with policymakers or share with districts or share with other states. So just wanted to interject that as well.
So I'm going to pass this over to Denise to talk to us today about the Action Fund.
Hello, everybody. So this is a really exciting part of the community of practice. So the Gates Foundation is actually putting funding forward to help launch some of the projects that you might have to meet some of the challenges with dealing with post-secondary outcomes data. So we're just going to do a little bit of a walkthrough of the different Action Fund phases, the timeline, objectives, eligibility to participate, and then how to actually get started with the submission process and information about upcoming training and technical assistance, because we're going to be here all along the way to help you out through this process. Next slide. So what is the Action Fund? So again, the Action Fund was created to help states expand the use of post-secondary outcomes data. This Action Fund will be open to community of practice members, and we've just kind of walked you through that process for how to join. And really the goal is to address some of the priority challenges. So, Bridget was just talking about dual enrollment data and dealing with that. That's one example. You guys are the experts. You're in the states dealing with the challenges that are coming up, whether it's how do you track post-secondary outcomes when students move and pursue higher education out of state. That might be one example. Or connecting post-secondary outcomes to workforce data. Or even how do people access post-secondary outcomes data? Are you getting the data that you need? So there are many, many challenges, and these are just examples. And again, this community is a place where we're hoping to learn more about what the challenges are that each of you are facing in the states, and a collective where cohorts of people can get together to talk about some of these challenges. So the Action Fund is going to be there to help actually put some money behind some of the things that need to happen to really help better prepare students for the transition to higher education in the workforce. So as I mentioned, the Action Fund has phases. It's pretty simple. Phase 1 is a project outline. And that's basically you're going to submit your description of the project that you want to do, what the problem and the solution are, and the intended results. That is going to be happening now. Today is kind of officially the launch of phase 1. Phase 2 will be more along the lines of really narrowing down your project scope. What is in scope? What is out of scope? What is your methodology for performing the work? What are the expected deliverables? And then, of course, how does your project really align with priorities to improve post-secondary outcomes data use? And in that phase, which will be the spring through early summer, there will be technical assistance and training that will be provided to help you through the steps of creating your project scope. So you're not going to be kind of on your own. We're here to help out. And then phase 3 is really the funding will be awarded, award recipients will be announced, your project summaries will be showcased throughout the community of practice, so everybody is aware of the projects that are ongoing. Awardees will receive additional training and technical assistance, related to some of the details of project tracking and execution, et cetera. Next slide. So who's eligible to participate? I mentioned you have to be a member of the Community of Practice Forum. Your entity must be a government or 501c3 agency that handles state-level post-secondary outcomes data. If you have a question of whether or not you're eligible, again, just reach out to us. In a little bit, Princess is going to show where you can contact us and ask questions. We do also ask that you have some staff member available to participate in training and technical assistance. Nothing too lengthy. It'll be sessions like this, or sometimes some self-paced instructions just to make sure you're submitting things according to the requirements, but pretty straightforward and simple. And next, how do you get started? So first, sign up to be a member of the community of practice. This is the screenshot. There are many ways to link to that sign up, and we just went through it. Once you're registered, you can immediately start working on your outline. And we ask that the outlines be submitted by February 28th. And once the outlines are received, you will get a message from one of us to provide additional information about what happens next to proceed to phase 2, the project scope. And Princess is going to go back to the website again for a minute and just show you kind of on that page in the Action Fund project outline, there's a form, and it's pretty simple, where you can go and start your project outline is here. And then that takes you to a form where you can just basically complete it. It's not very lengthy. And it describes each step of the way, like what you should put in to the form. So the problem, the solution, and the result is the main thing. And then, of course, your point of contact. If after looking at all of this information, you still have questions about, is this action fund right for you? There is a form on the previous slide at the very bottom. Still wondering if your project is a fit, you can come here, fill this out, and one of us will get back to you. So we're trying to make it a very streamlined, easy process to participate in the Action Fund. And yeah, and that's basically it. And the key thing, again, on the community of practice, Princess showed you the area where, you'll see announcements from us. So, keep an eye on that, because different phases and deadlines will be announced in the community of practice. And you can always post your questions within the community of practice related to the Action Fund or other items.
Thank you, Denise. All right, so it looks like we did round things up a bit early, but however, I do have a few next steps for you. If you were here today and you enjoyed this meeting, you're very interested, I'm excited. We are all excited to have you here, and it'll be even more exciting if we got more people involved in this. So please, I'll share the link, the URL to the community of practice. At the end, please share this with your colleagues, invite more people to come and join the conversation. Another next step, please start a topic or comment on a topic on the forum. If you have a resource that you would like to share, please follow the steps that we said before. Go ahead and upload that, submit that resource to be uploaded. Submit a project outline for the Action Fund. Read and comment on the discussion paper. And even though we didn't discuss it during this meeting, I know a lot of you are here because of the newsletter. More of those will be coming later on. After some time, we will be updating you on our next quarterly live session and any other happenings that could be going on with post-secondary data and the community of practice, the K12 community of practice. So please just be on the lookout for those newsletters. And as a final ask, I will ask you before we leave today, if you can go back to the forum. Hopefully you still have it open. Go into this thread that says collaborate to improve student pathways. And if you could go to this second topic right here that says introductory meeting questions, if you could just go in here. If you have any type of question or comment that you would like to leave for us today about anything you heard in this meeting, anything about post-secondary data, if you would just like to introduce yourself and get in touch and meet other people who were at this meeting today, if you could go ahead and just leave a reply or leave a reply to this comment, this question in this thread. Again, I'll start that over so you can see where you can find that. You're going to go to the forum. If you already have your login, you should still be logged in. Go here to collaborate to improve pathways for students. The second one, it says introductory meeting questions. If you can just go in there and leave a reply, any questions, comments that you have about today's meeting, we will be responding to you as these come along throughout the week. Or if you just want to leave your name, your state, and your organization just to kind of say you were here and have other people interact with you, that's also great. I'm going to put this link, I'm going to put the link to I'm going to put the link in the chat if you give me a second, in case you need it again.
And while you're doing that, Princess, I do want to open the floor for any questions right now since we got through our material faster than we thought, which is great. And I know we talked the whole time. We presented you with a lot of information. So, of course, you're welcome to go in here, and it's a great way to start using the tool to ask questions. But while we have you here now and while we're all together, if you have any questions or comments about what we've talked about today, please, we're opening the floor now for that. Yeah, great question, Josie. Or I don't know if it's Josie or Jossie is asking, can we join the COP even if we are not interested in the Action Fund? Absolutely. So the Action Fund is just one aspect of the community of practice. Really, it's a space for you to talk with one another, exchange resources, best practices, challenges, solutions, read the dual enrollment discussion paper that Bridget talked about, go through resources, upload resources, participate in the forums. If you also have a project that you might want some funding for, you can participate in the Action Fund. What is the commitment level of an agency to participate? Can you say more about what you're thinking and what you're wanting to know about that? Is it how many meetings for the Action Fund specifically, or for the community of practice?
I'll just go ahead and put myself off
Thanks.
mute.
Yeah.
So Josie Bruner, it is Josie, Texas Education Agency. I actually got this invitation because I believe you all are having a meeting in Dallas, and unfortunately we have other priorities, so I can't make it. But one of our biggest issues with joining sort of like any communities of practice is knowing, one, whether or not there are sort of time commitments of staff to participate fully. Because I know, for example, there's a multi-data collaborative among states. And interestingly enough, it's through SHIO and NASWA. And so, like, Texas is one of the few K12 communities that participate with this other group. But I was intrigued because I was like, oh, this is great. This is one devoted to K12, especially. But just knowing sort of the time commitments and kind of what sort of expectations in participation are there, just in general.
Yeah,
For the other ones, by the way, they do have certain meetings and there are working groups, and so there is more sort of like a very structured commitment time. And so I'm just trying to gauge how much we would have to put into it.
Yeah, that's a really great question, and thanks for framing it that way. We don't have that. We don't have any time commitments, requirements. So it's really just a space that's here for you. If you wanted to participate in the Action Fund, it would be a little more like, please attend this training or, watch this webinar kind of thing to make sure you're moving through the process. But to participate at large, there's zero time commitment from our end, and it's sort of like what you put in is probably what you'll get out, and what you want to get out is what you'll put in. So it's really just a resource that's here for you. So I really appreciate you asking that question. And our intention, the site's going to be there, and as Princess said, Hopefully, eventually, it'll become more driven by the users. Right now, we're populating content to get you started. We will be hosting quarterly meetings like this, a virtual meeting, so we can come together to talk about what are the like hot topics that are rising to the surface? What are people wanting to get together to talk about? That will be the purpose of these quarterly meetings, is to take those conversations from being synchronistic online to synchronous online. I'm curious, like in addition to questions, if there's anything that you are really excited to talk with other people about in this space. Like I've been working on X, Y, and Z, and I really want to speak with folks about it. If there's something you want to share in the chat or with the group. And Josie's saying we're doing an LMI report for career pathways and a college opportunity report. Oh, that's very exciting.
Isabel, you're muted. I don't know if you were trying to say something.
Hi, yes, I was trying to, but maybe it'll be faster to say it than type it. Yeah, so I'm in Arizona. I don't know if I have any colleagues in Arizona, but we're a nonprofit through our Chamber of Commerce and really working on a project just about this and really thinking about the work that we do in K12 with our high school partners. How can we best track the post-secondary outcomes of the students that we impact and just really putting the feelers out through some strategic partners to figure out how we can start that, right? And what does it look like elsewhere? So this is very timely and very much needed. And, we're just getting a critical mass of folks here to think about what do we need to do for statewide, building statewide capabilities to track post-secondary outcomes, no matter what the program or intervention, et cetera, was at the high school level. So this is very timely and perfectly aligned.
Great, we're happy to have you.
I could share a little bit. We're California's statewide longitudinal data system, and we're building out our first data product that will go out to the public, and it's our student pathways dashboard, showing where students are going from high school into their careers. And we're beginning a public process to identify data elements that we'll be receiving in the workforce sector. So very, very excited about that. We're working with our state's labor agency on that.
That's very exciting. Thanks for sharing that. I'm sure that's been a very massive undertaking, and to get the dashboard out there, I'm sure is very exciting and nerve-wracking, and all the feelings.
Been a giant collaborative process. So very, very exciting.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else want to share, like maybe why they came today or what they're hoping to put in or get out of being a part of a post-secondary outcomes data community of practice?
Can I just say generally, I really like connecting with other states because we're like doing this statewide longitudinal for the first time. So it's been really insightful. We've been a part of other learning communities, just seeing what other states are doing. I'm kind of interested in the policy aspect too. I know different states have to deal with different policies that might impact the way that they're either receiving data or putting out data products. So really interested to hear from other states on that front.
I can tell you why I have joined this. I was hired about a year and a half, well, almost 2 years ago now, as Michigan College Access Network's first chief data strategist. And so I'm looking for ways that we as a nonprofit can work with data to try to promote uh, college access and success. You know, all the little metrics, persistence, everything else. We're not a government agency, you know, and certainly the Michigan, the state of Michigan, which I see is represented here, and that's good. They have their, they have their system set up, but what I'm looking forward to is hearing ideas on how we, as an independent nonprofit, can use data, supply data, work with the data that we get from the state, work with data that we get from NCAN and other places, and make a case using data for policies that help people access and succeed in higher education.
Yes, and I believe we've met Peter. I think I came to your office, and you're muted now.
Yeah, did we I'm muting myself too quickly. Did we meet at the national conference, or had you come
I
here at
think
one point?
myself and a colleague traveled to Lansing to your offices to chat with you about how you use the My School Data Portal.
Okay, okay. I remember that now. Yeah, thanks
Mm-hmm.
for prompting that.
Mm-hmm. So your agency is featured in our case study that we published. So thanks for that. And
Yeah,
thanks for coming back.
sure. Yeah.
Anyone else want to share maybe like burning questions? You have questions about the Action Fund, or if you just want to share like why you're here today, what you hope to put in or get out of it. We in a few more minutes. I love that folks are connecting in the chat. That's, why we're here. And Isabel, I haven't met, I don't think I've met you, but I have met some folks from Arizona. They participated in our focus groups for the best practice guide. So I believe I'm not remembering, it's like NMEAF maybe. Oh, that's New Mexico, not Arizona. Sorry, they were in the same focus group, so I just conflated those states. But yes, we had someone from the Arizona Board of Regents who participated in our focus group for the best practice guide.
Thank you. I'll be looking at that. I don't want to lengthen the time, but just is there something brief you can share in terms of 501(c)(3) and what does it mean to handle state level post-secondary data outcome? I guess that wouldn't be us, but I can follow up on the form to just get a sidebar on that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Or, I do, since we have a little bit more time, if no one has anything else to share, um, if those of you, just a little reminder, those of you who said you couldn't log in, if you could put your name in the chat just so I can have it all in one space, maybe I can reach out to you, or you can maybe fill out for help on the contact form on the website, either or, so that way we can take it back to our tech team and see how we can help troubleshoot you later on.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. And if there's no other questions or comments, then, we'll be in touch with follow up and how to keep connecting. So, and reach out to us whenever you'd like. And we hope to get some applications from you all to participate in the Action Fund. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We did it. You did it.
We did it.
Congratulations.
You guys.
Good job, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it went well. I think the kind of what was happening at the
What?
end is
Hold on, let's stop recording. Did you stop recording?
Oh.
oh yeah,